Hey, what's up guys? Anthony here with the Silver Screen Analysis, and this is the Film Face-Off, where we take two versions of a film and basically break them down to see how they match up, to see whether the original was better than the remake, or if the remake was actually able to outshine its source material. Movies will be ranked in the following categories: storyline, performances, writing, the direction and cinematography, and the sound and visual effects. Those results will be tallied up and given the overall results of our winner. So let's get right into it. Today we have a great matchup between the Japanese horror film Ringu from 1998 and its American remake 2002's The Ring. First, let's get the tale of the tape on these two films. Both, of course, are based on the novel by KOJI Suzuki about a reporter who investigates a mysterious VHS tape that kills whoever watches it 7 days later. Ringu was directed by Hideo Nakata, and it starred Nanako Matsushima and Hiroku Sanada, and it's currently sitting at 7.3 on IMDb with a critic score of 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Ring was directed by Gore Verbinski, and it starred Naomi Watts and Martin Henderson, and that's much easier to say, and this film currently sits at 7.1 on IMDb with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 71%, although it has many more reviews tallied. Now first, let's break down the storylines. I did enjoy both versions of this story, but I felt Ringu had a much tighter script than The Ring. It's nearly 20 minutes shorter, and it shows much more focus. It's about a reporter and her ex trying to find the clues about this cursed videotape, and it doesn't stray from that. The storyline in The Ring embellishes on many more of the subplots. There's a much heavier focus on the son who's able to communicate with these spirits, and it just results in familiar scenes with a kid that's able to see and talk to spirits that the adult characters can't. The story in Ringu was much more direct and much more focused. It maintained more intrigue. You get to learn about the past events through these memory flashes that do leave enough for the imagination, rather than scenes in The Ring that just have a lot of flashbacks and added characters and dialogue that really just hinder the mystery you create for yourself by giving you over explanation. I did enjoy some of the added scenes that The Ring put into the storyline, for example the horse on the ferry, and I really enjoyed the creepy VHS tape that they made for this film, but the American version also suffered from just too much of a reliance on digital effects and routine scare attempts instead of building suspense properly. So when it comes to the storyline, while I did enjoy both, Ringu comes out on top with 4 out of 5 stars compared to 3 out of 5 stars for The Ring. Next, let's talk about the performances. I do think this is a tough category to break down properly. Ringu is a Japanese film with subtitles, so it can be difficult to properly see the conveyed emotional delivery with the language barriers, but I do think both of the films had solid performances. I do think that while Matsushima was a very capable lead, Sanada was the bright spot in Ringu with a very emotionally charged performance. But Matsushima was very good as well, and I was able to connect with her desperation to find out the origins of this tape, but it just seemed like some of the delivery she had just kind of felt like slight moments of overacting, but it was nothing ever close to the point of pulling you out of the story as a viewer. I thought Naomi Watts and Martin Henderson were both solid in The Ring for what their character needs were, more so than the female lead in The Ring. I thought Watts truly was the star of this film. She delivered its best performance. I thought she brought a lot of effort to the role, and she had a grounded personality that was effective in creating a likable character. She was intelligent and determined, and I thought Watts conveyed all that perfectly. So for the performances, I'm going to give this one to The Ring with 4 out of 5 stars, with Ringu getting 3 out of 5 stars. Now let's move on to the writing in these movies. I thought both of these were well-written horror stories. Ringu treats his audience a little bit smarter. Takahashi's screenplay shows a reliance on knowing that true fear comes from the things that come up in our own mind, so Ringu does spend a lot of time building tension and suspense that inevitably does lead to some frightening moments. The Ring, on the other hand, was very westernized, or more so Americanized, with a lot of added characters and more subplots, kind of treating its audience like it has a short attention span. There's a lot of dialogue and a much deeper backdrop written for the character of Samara that, for me, kind of only diminished that fun, unknown eeriness of her presence in the film. I felt The Ring did show that Kruger's script had some ambition, but it also told me too much, and while Ringu was much more simple and to the point, it was also much more captivating, so I'm going to give the edge here to Takahashi's screenplay with 4 out of 5 stars, with Kruger's version getting 3 out of 5 stars. Next up, let's talk about the direction and cinematography. To me, Ringu was awesome because of its simplicity from Nakata. The shots were simple, stationary camera angles and simple pans. The backdrops were excellently captured, with all the gloomy weather just giving the film a tense, foreboding vibe from start to finish. The film also utilized a lot of natural lighting that just give the film a much more intimate feel that really worked good for maintaining great suspense. The Ring was also a nicely shot film, and Verbinski brought an artistic eye to the horror genre. There's some nice shots and some nice backdrops, but it kind of also has a big budget studio feel that I think really hindered the impact of this story. Verbinski does craft a solid film, but it doesn't really stand out from the other genre films of the time period with all the kind of similar shots in between the intended scares. So in the end, I have to give the edge here to Ringu with 5 out of 5 stars, with The Ring getting 3 out of 5 stars. Going back and watching The Ring just doesn't have that same pop to it that it did when it first came out, but Ringu can still pack a punch. Now let's get into our final category, the sound and visual effects. Ringu showed a focus on simple, practical effects, and I thought it was perfect for the tone of the story. Despite all the years, the imagery in this film really does still hold up, and watching that spirit come out of the television is still great to watch, unlike kind of watching that final scene from The Ring. Instead of getting creeped out, you kind of see the digital effects and just instantly think, oh, this came out in the early 2000s. The Ring does have a couple fun jump scares, but the problem with jump scares is they rarely have any longevity. But like I said earlier, the eerie VHS created for The Ring was excellently edited, and it's still probably the creepiest part of the film to me. But while The Ring did have some positives in the visual department, it also was oversaturated with digital effects. Ringu delivers simple, practical visuals, and it blends it with a fantastic musical score that heightens the intensity perfectly, so it's going to get the edge with 4 out of 5 stars, with The Ring getting 2 out of 5 stars. So in our first film face-off, the win goes to the original, Ringu getting 20 out of 25 stars, and The Ring getting 15 out of 25 stars. I do think they're both good films in their own ways, but Ringu has just much more lasting power to it. It's a well-crafted film on many levels, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely would recommend putting it on the watch list. And that's it for today, guys. Let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed this video format. If so, I'd love to make some more. It was a lot of fun to go back and examine these two films more closely, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you can catch all the new reviews. Thank you so much for watching. As always, guys, I'm Anthony. This is the Silver Screen Analysis, and I'll see you at the movies.